Alright, it's been a long time. It's been 4 months since my last video. Honestly, I only have room for so many more movies, so I don't know how many more videos are coming unless I start doing reviews. And I do try to give you brief reviews of ones I've seen that I show you, and there may be 1 or 2, 3 of these tops, maybe that I've showed you before, but bear with me. The vast majority of this stuff is all new to the channel, stuff that I haven't shared. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and show you, again, I'm limiting this to horror movies, I believe. I can see what's in my bag, but I think this is all horror movies. So I will show you what I've got. Now, the first bit of stuff is all stuff from Dollar Tree. You know what? I'll show you the other stuff in passing since I've got a little bit of it mixed in here. Blitz, Jason Statham, you know, dollar. I like Jason Statham, so. Iceman, probably not horror again. Action thriller. This one looks very horror. The Devil's Machine. So, there's that. Psycho Killer. This has Malcolm McDowell. So, legendary Malcolm McDowell. There's the back of that one. Again, Dollar Tree, so there's stickers over a lot of the stuff, so. Just a bizarre looking movie. I think it's Korean. Satellite Girl and Milk Cow. I have no idea what to expect, but it sounded so crazy that I just had to check it out. So, Bruce Willis, Once Upon a Time in Venice. Again, not horror. This is horror. Chain Letter. Brad Dourif. I love Brad Dourif. Keith David, Betsy Russell. I don't know who Nikki Reed is, but I'm sure I've seen her in something. But anyway, there's that. And there's that side of it. So, anyway. Let's see. Yeah. There we go. Living Christ series. The Great Commandment. Stuff that I can watch with my wife. She doesn't like horror movies, but she'll watch those if she ever gets time. The Frankenstein Theory, from the creators of The Last Exorcism. This one sounded interesting, so looks pretty horrific to me. There's the back, in case you want to zoom in and look at what's on that. You can always zoom in and pause it. Okay, that's bag 1, Dollar Tree. There are other dollar things mixed in with the stuff that wasn't a dollar, but this first batch is just Dollar Tree stuff. The Unkindness of Ravens. There you go. Investigation 13. I know I've got a lot of glare here, so sorry about that. Monster Party. And I'd been wanting to see this one anyway. There's the back. There's a synopsis. Freeze frame. There you go. The Ouija Room. Not sure what to expect. Of course, these are all from Dollar Tree, so you never really know what to expect. Sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. Some of these are sometimes quite enjoyable. Some of them are pretty, You're like, okay, I can see why that was $1. But, you know. Just because a movie isn't popular and makes a lot of money, ends up in the Dollar Tree, doesn't mean it's horrible, necessarily. Sometimes a movie just needs some time to find its audience. Animal Among Us. Don't know if that's a Bigfoot movie or just some crazy guy. Haven't read the synopsis that closely, but there that is. I wish I had more friends that like to watch horror movies like this, but I don't, so I end up watching them by myself usually, and that's probably why I don't watch as many of them. It's not as much fun watching stuff by yourself. But the collection grows, nevertheless. Itsy Bitsy, which I kind of wanted the Blu-ray of this, but I never did catch it on Blu-ray in Dollar Tree, although I think other people have picked it up on Blu-ray at Dollar Tree. But a DVD is good enough, I wanted to go ahead and get it while I could get it on the cheap, because I've heard that one's really good. Devil Incarnate. I've seen where other people have picked this one up. I haven't heard whether or not anybody likes it or not, but there it is, and there's that. Terrified, a Shudder movie. So yeah, it was cool to see some of the Shudder original stuff, since I don't have Shudder at Dollar Tree. So Relic. The Amityville Murders. This looks interesting. The Barge People. Arr. Looks like something you'd see on SCTV on Count Floyd's Monster Chiller Theater. This would fit right in, I think. Might be surprisingly good. But it looks silly, so I don't expect it to not be super cheesy, for lack of a better term. That seems to be the popular word. That's probably what it is. Okay. So there's bag 2, bag 3 of Dollar Tree. These weren't all in one shopping trip. They were kind of spaced out. I've got, like I said, I got other ones in my bag with my other stuff. Michael Berryman movie, Midnight Evil. I like Michael Berryman, who I met a couple years ago, 3 years ago, and he was very, very nice. So it's always cool when you get to meet people that you grew up watching in your favorite movies and stuff, and you meet them and they turn out to be like uber cool and nice, and that is just so satisfying. The Manson Family Massacre. Don't know if this is a fictional telling of the events or if this is based in truth. I don't know anything about this, but I do know that the Manson family murders were totally horrific. So, terrible tragedy. Another Shudder exclusive, The Furies. And I've heard this is pretty interesting as well. Now, I always say this, and I hardly ever get any response. If anybody has seen any of these movies and would like to give me your thoughts on them, I love having discussions with people about movies, since I don't have a lot of people in my everyday life that like horror movies enough to talk about them or watch them enough to have a discussion about them. It'd be cool if you all would. If you're watching this channel, I assume that you're into horror movies. Maybe you don't see a lot of them. Obviously, I get a lot of these. I just don't get around to watching them as quickly as I would like, but I think eventually I will get to them. I've tried to make that a point to do, but I'm a busy guy. You know, everybody's busy, but anyway, there's that. Now, I already had Prom Night on the Anchor Bay DVD that came out years and years ago. This includes 3 of the Prom Night movies. It's got the original Prom Night, Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2, and Prom Night 4, Delivers from Evil. Now, I'm not sure whether or not I have 2, but I'm sure I don't have 4. So, if nothing else, at Dollar Tree it was worth it for 4, but here they are all in one collection, so I don't have to scramble and look for my other copies. If I have Prom Night 2, it's on one of those Lionsgate 8 movie collections with the black box and the pictures of the original art of each movie on the front. But anyway, there's the Prom Night collection. It's missing 3. I'm pretty sure I don't have that one. Witches in the Woods. Like I said, some of these turn out to be really good. Some of them turn out to be uber stinkers. But, you know, when you're paying $1.25, you're like, yeah. You know, it's like, I have about the same ratio at seeing movies at the theater. I think, I like probably 75% of what I see. The other 25, it's either okay or I don't like it. I'd say, my odds are about the same with a Dollar Tree movie, so it's really not that different. I saw this at the theater. I thought it was kind of funny. I thought it was trying a little too hard just to be raunchy than to be funny, but I still thought it was worth $1.25. I think that's what they are. I say $1, but they're actually $1.25 now. So still a bargain at $1.25, just the same. But anyway, there's Sausage Party. It's a comedy, not for the kids, even though it's animated. Mechanic, Jason Statham. I don't know if this is a remake of the Charles Bronson movie or not, but it's an action movie. Jason Statham is a good action actor, so I like Chuck Norris and the old Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme stuff and Clint Eastwood and and Bruce Willis, all the old action stars. I'm sorry to hear about Bruce Willis. That's news about him has come out since my last video. Here's a couple Val Kilmer movies. They're action movies. They're not horror, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that one. It just happened to be in the mix. Forgot to go through the Dollar Tree bags of movies to weed out the non-horror stuff. This bag should all be horror. This is the problem with doing this in your bedroom. On your bed, your movies slide everywhere as you're trying to do your video. Okay. Most of this is not Dollar Tree stuff. Here's one. Revenge has never been so painful. Daddy's Little Girl. Woo! Boy, talk about it. You gotta have a stomach for this one. It could have been worse. I was able to get through it without a lot of issues. But it's kind of a hard watch. Basically, a guy's little girl gets killed. He finds out who killed his little girl. And makes him pay in terrible ways. I'm not going to say anymore because I don't want to reveal too much, but that movie was actually quite good. Now, this is one of them. I can't remember if I showed you or not. So, A Woman's Torment. Is this Jess Franco? Can't remember if this is Jess Franco or not. No, it's Roberta Findlay. Okay. Well, anyway, this is a Vinegar Syndrome release. And this has got the original version and the never before seen extended R-rated version. This does have explicit sexual content, so this is not for children. The R-rated version may be a little more palatable. You might get away with letting your kids watch that one if they're old enough and would be interested. I would suggest an R-rated cut because the other version does have explicit sexual content, and I mean explicit. So do not let your children watch that one. The Mermaid's Curse, kind of a weird title because these aren't really mermaids. They're more sirens, the women in it. And even though it's mistitled, in and of itself, it's not a horrible movie. It's not a great watch. I can't strongly recommend it, but I can't say that I didn't enjoy it. I still enjoyed it. It was a little bit slow and boring in parts, but, a lot of movies are. Makes you appreciate the action sequences more that way. Michael Madsen in Gabriel, The Edge of the World with the Darkest of Souls. Now that sounded like a horror movie to me. So there's that one. Here's a couple. I had to upgrade. I don't have 4K yet, but it came with a Blu-ray. That's why I bought it. Alligator, one of my favorite movies of all time. And the lesser sequel was also released the same day by Shout Factory. So Shout Factory came through once again with a much in demand couple of titles here. Alligator 2, The Mutation's been out of print for many years and never saw a DVD release to my knowledge in the United States. And this is, again, nowhere near as good as the original. The original is one of my favorite movies of all time, so it's not like much is going to stack up to that. But for what it is, it's fun. It's still good. I believe this was this was a Dollar Tree thing. Days of Darkness. I'm about to say Darkness of Days. Looks like kind of a zombie movie kind of thing. Anyway, so who knows? Here's one again. Can't remember if I showed this one to you. I may have Dolls. So since I may have showed it to you, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time showing you everything on that, but there you go. Pause anything if you want a closer look, as always. I didn't like the condition this came in. I actually pulled it out, and the label was all mangled, and it was bent over, like somebody shoved it inside the case and then put it in right. It's a little tore up there. You can see some of the damage there, but I didn't go to the trouble of sending it back and all that. But the movie inside is fine. The case isn't even cracked, so I don't know. Somebody got in a hurry when they, I guess at the factory, when they were putting the labels in, and just got a little careless and a little rough, and they said, ah, good enough. Ship it out. Don't need to do any more with that. So anyway, it's an Arrow release. It looks and sounds great. I still have my Blue Underground DVD of it, which also looks fine. This has had a lot of bonus features with it and stuff. It's one of my favorite movies, also known as Beyond the Door 2. So if you've seen Beyond the Door 2, the cover art, you know, is a little bit different. I think it's pretty cool looking. Well, anyway, Shock. I can't say enough good things about it. We've talked about this movie before. So it's one of the, probably Mario Bava's, I think it was his last movie. And if it ain't one of his best, it's certainly one of my favorites. Last Night in Soho. I believe I got this for my birthday. And I saw this at the theater, and that's why I had it on my wish list. And I do absolutely love this movie. Very creative, very fun, great acting, excellent storytelling. Some people don't care for this movie. That's okay. Some people really like the Candyman remake and some other stuff that came out horror related and Halloween Kills, and I liked neither of those. So everybody likes different stuff. I got this Indicator edition of Body Double, which is nice to have it on a Blu-ray. I don't have the Twilight Time Blu-ray. I don't know if the material or if there's a different version that's not on this. I don't know, but this does have great bonus features. This is region free, so even though it has that, it's an imported release, and it's got that little 18 on it, which is a code for a rating in other countries. I think it's a UK thing. But anyway, yeah, it says powerhousefilms.co.uk for their website. So I believe this is an English release imported to the States. So fantastic movie. Why it doesn't still have a domestic release on Blu-ray is a crime, because it's a fantastic film. Dollar Tree pickup, Village in the Woods. So this one actually looks pretty good from what I can tell. I find a lot of the Dollar Tree films are British-made productions, and I don't know. British horror can be just as good or better than American horror. It's kind of like, you know, it's a crapshoot. You know, some are good, some aren't. This is 10 Films Midnight Horror Collection, Zombies. It's a Zombies collection. It's got a lot of stuff on it. I'll just read you the titles real quick. Night of the Living Dead, of course, the original George Romero. Teenage Zombies, King of the Zombies, White Zombie, which is an old Bela Lugosi film, Last of the Living, Grave Mistake, I Am Omega, Awaken the Dead, Zombie Dearest, Hide and Creep. So, pretty good for $1.25. It's a lot of stuff. The Scientist, there is no cure for the undead, so here we go with zombies again. Zombie movies are just everywhere. There used to be a handful of them come out every year or two, and now that's just like, it seems like there's just tons of them at Dollar Tree and elsewhere. Lawrence Kasdan Dreamcatcher. This is a little full screen version. I think it's why it was $1, and it was probably part of a bigger collection, but somehow Dollar Tree got some individual copies that not included in part of the Stephen King collection. And I've just started watching this, and so far what I've seen I've liked. I've heard good things. It's a Warner Brothers release. I'm sure this is available probably in widescreen DVD, Blu-ray, etc. But it was cheap, so I figured that might be good enough to satisfy me. Scarecrow's Revenge, Dollar Tree stuff again. Probably horrible, but who knows? I don't like to be pessimistic about Dollar Tree movies necessarily. It's just, I would say I like about 40% of my Dollar Tree movies. But they almost all of them have some elements that I like. So back to something that's not so cheap. Saw What You Did. Got this on sale. and this is a Shout Factory release with Joan Crawford. This is very psycho-ish, but it has a lot of light-hearted music and attitude sometimes. It's like the babysitters are being stalked by a guy who's a murderer, and they think that he thinks that they know who he is and what he did, and I'll leave it at that. I'll let the plot unfold for you. I can't remember if I showed this one. I think I may have. Voices, and I actually found it to be pretty good. I like David Hemmings from Deep Red, so again, this is one I can't remember if I showed to you or not. But anyway, so there's that one. And then we've got 1408, the classic, John Cusack, Samuel L. Jackson, based off of a Stephen King story, I believe. And this one is an awful, awful, awful lot of fun. So you should definitely check this out if you have not. This is a release from Vinegar Syndrome, which I really, really enjoyed. Little revenge tale. It's very B, but it's fun. It's called Blood Games. So, women taking revenge on their male attackers. And these are some pretty nasty guys too in this movie. You almost don't even want to claim them in the group of, in the name of men, because they're not the kind of men that I would admire and respect for sure. Death Walks at Midnight. I meant to get the Blu-ray of this. I accidentally got the DVD. Oh well, so what? It's a little bit... Actually, it was quite a bit cheaper than the Blu-ray at the time, so if nothing else, I saved a few bucks. And I'm sure it's an Arrow, so I'm sure the DVD's fine. But anyway, I have several of these movies from this director, and this is one of them that I didn't have, so I've heard it's good. I think it's one of his giallos that particular director did. The Pete Walker Collection, Volume 2. And I've only seen one of this gentleman's movies, I believe, and the one that I have seen is excellent. And I had none of these, so it was good to get this collection without duplicating. That was real nice that I hadn't bought the other. So I'm glad I didn't buy any of the individual titles, because they've all been released individually, I believe. Successive Slidings of Pleasure, another redemption one. Don't know anything about this really, but it had been on my wish list forever. I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up before it's gone. And it's been out for a long time, so I figure my chances of that happening are getting bigger and bigger day by day. So here is Eden and After. And this was a Dollar Tree pickup. This is one I had wanted to see anyway. It's got legendary horror actors in it: Stephen Lang, William Sadler, Martin Kove, and Fred Williamson. And this, I have to say, is probably one of the favorite movies that I've watched this year. I know it came out like in 2019. It's been out for a long time. But I had heard nothing but good things and couldn't believe that they had a copy of it at Dollar Tree. As good of things as I heard about this, I was like, why? This is a quality picture here. Why would this be at Dollar Tree? But I loved this. So this is probably one of my strongest recommendations of all the movies that I'm showing you today. Friend Request, I think, is a lot of fun. I like these kind of movies. And you'll see what I mean here in just a minute. There's the back. Unfriended. So they're very similar movies in kind of how they're set up, but they are different, and they're different enough that they don't feel like the same movie. But they are similar. They are definitely similar. So you can go ahead and get you a little bit of that if you haven't seen those. Those are good. They're fun, especially if you like the whole social media horror element. This is one that I believe Matt from You and Your Horror Movies mentioned and sounded really intriguing. It's called 247 Degrees Fahrenheit, about some kids that get stuck in a sauna trying to stay alive. And this movie is not as boring as it sounds. You say, well, what's going to happen? They're stuck in a sauna the whole time. How much can happen, you know? But it's actually quite good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I would recommend this. Not one I'd heard a lot about, so I was glad that Matt mentioned it. Matt's a friend of mine too on Facebook. We've never actually met, but I really enjoy talking to him when he does reach out to me, and we do talk a little bit from time to time. A Night in the Woods. This was a pretty much run-of-the-mill kind of. It is almost a direct rip-off of Blair Witch Project, as far as I'm concerned. It was that similar, but for what it is, you know, it's pretty good. But like I said, it's kind of redundant, if not a lot redundant. But that doesn't mean it totally sucked. But it's not one of my favorites. This one was surprisingly good, Blackwater Abyss, because I'm a sucker for crocodile movies anyway. And this one I had not heard of, and this was a Dollar Tree Blu-ray. And that, so this was fun. If you like this is by far not the worst crocodile alligator movie I've seen. Actually, it's probably in the upper 50%, even though it was only $1.25. Here's one that was a preview on another Blu-ray I had called The Day. And it's basically about these cannibals, you know, after, you know, post-apocalyptic kind of movie. They're being hunted by cannibals, and these people kind of barricade themselves inside this building, and they're trying to survive these cannibals. This movie was a ton of action and very, very fun. And this is I think it's an Anchor Bay release. Yes, it's an Anchor Bay release. So the Anchor Bay stuff, I think, is out of print, or Lionsgate absorbed it. So if you can get a copy of this, I would recommend you get one as soon as you can, because I really enjoyed this. So I don't know if it'll stick around, but we'll see. The Love Butcher, this was part of a Kino Lorber sale, and it's Code Red release. So I'd been wanting to see it. I like to pick up Code Red stuff when I can, especially now that their stuff isn't so hard to get, and they're re-releasing some of the titles. That makes it nice. I like that. So I don't have to try to get one on eBay for about 4 times of what was paid for it. More of the Kino Lorber sale. Again, that's what happens when you do this on your bed. They slide everywhere. About to lose them. Boris Karloff, Black Sabbath. There you go. Sorry, little glare. There it is. The Raven. Baron Blood. Dario Argento's The Card Player. I've seen this. This is actually pretty good. It doesn't get a lot of love. I mean, Argento's stuff is classic, and this isn't one of his quote classics, but so therefore it has been compared to some of his other films, which are masterpieces. So for what it is, it's really good. So don't let some of the negative reviews dissuade you from watching it. It is definitely worth your time. 5 Miles to Midnight, Sophia Loren, Anthony Perkins. I figure that's going to be a winner. I like both those actors. I think it's an old black and white one, but it sounded good. I got a good price on it. Kino Lorber has wonderful sales. If you're not familiar with the Kino Lorber sales, you should be, because they're very good bargains and they're good movies. Deep Star 6, another part of that sale. Finally get to upgrade my full screen DVD. Finally got a respectable Blu-ray release, and I finally got it at a reasonable price for an upgrade. I tend to not want to spend quite as much money for a movie on an upgrade if it's something I already have. So if it's something I don't have, you know, I'm maybe persuaded to pay a little more. But Theater of Blood, Vincent Price. I don't have a lot of Vincent Price stuff, so I know this man's made so many movies. I know I'll probably never collect them or watch all of them. And I know he didn't just do horror. He was a great actor in thrillers and film noir, mystery type movies. But I figured some Vincent Price is always, you know, bankable, that it's probably going to be pretty decent. Last Man on Earth, I've heard that this is a good film. Another part of the Kino Lorber sale. And there you go. And that's all I've got to show you. This video was probably long enough, so I've probably surpassed the 15-minute mark, and sometimes you lose people in the first 5 to 10 minutes. So if you stuck with me this long, thank you. If you stuck with me through the big gaps in bringing you new videos, I appreciate that as well. Hopefully I'll have something else to show you sometime this year before the year ends. I just never know. But I can always do a review or something. So again, thank you for watching. Appreciate all of you. Hope you all have a great Memorial Day weekend's coming up. So hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe. Enjoy yourself. Do something fun. You deserve it. Save your bucks. Everything's expensive right now, but don't let that stop you from making memories with your family and friends. So thank you. You all have a good day.